Jermaine Genius, he's crying. He's crying. Jermaine Genius is crying.
I hate in the game. I don't like
Then
it.
his
Luke.
arm goes upwards. It goes
No,
up.
no. No, we're not. We're not doing it.
The Offside Trap Podcast with Matt and Luke.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Offside Trap Podcast. It's Matt and Luke again. Just doing a little bit of a different one today. Basically, I messaged Luke the other day and said that we'd talk about Man City, really. But before we do that, there's been a couple of things that have happened in world football this week. First of which was something that Luke mentioned to me this morning. It was Juve potentially getting banned from the Serie A, isn't that right?
That is correct. They've still not left the Super League, yet we're still talking about the Super League. They haven't left that, and now Serie A are now saying that they could be kicked out if they don't agree to leave, which, I don't know about you, I think it's a bit... It's dragging out now. There's, 4 teams left, or 3 teams? Barca, Real Madrid, Juventus, and I can't
That's
remember
it,
the
they're
other
the
one.
only 3 that are left, aren't they?
Yeah. They're going to have a little threesome tournament by the looks of it. But it is stupid. Like, just leave it. Everyone else has. I know they don't want to lose out on the money. That's the issue.
Isn't it? It's the principle of it, isn't it? I think. Well, they're still saying that basically the teams that signed up to the opening, first 12, are saying that they're still binded by it. It's a binding contract they can't get out of. So they're literally fighting tooth and nail to get it.
The thing is with that it's a binding contract, but surely there's a get out clause somewhere. Maybe if they have to pay a leaving fee, which I'm sure the clubs would be more than happy to do if it meant getting away from all this chaos that it's caused.
I mean, yeah, you'd think so, but at this point, who knows, mate? I can't see. I mean, if Juventus gets kicked out of Serie A, actually, you can't even. I was going to say if Juventus get kicked out of Serie A, then it's a massive mistake from Serie A because they won't survive without Juve. But Juve got kicked out before, so it's not like Serie A needs Juventus to survive. If anything, it'll make it a more competitive league.
Yep, 100%. And talk about competitive leagues. We'll quickly go to the Premier League, where we saw on Sunday West Brom get relegated after losing to Arsenal, and then last night Fulham getting relegated after losing to Burnley. What do you make of those 2 teams getting relegated?
I think it was coming. I think it's ironic. Obviously, we had the discussion a while back about obviously whether we thought who was going to go down, and you said Newcastle, and then since then Newcastle have basically gone on this ridiculous run where I think they've only lost 1 game. And then they're beating the big teams.
Yeah, they've started to score loads of goals, which they weren't doing beforehand.
Yeah. Do I think that makes Steve Bruce safe? Not at all. I think that's a very different thing. But yeah, West Brom, I didn't think were going to stay up. Fulham, I don't know. I don't get it with Fulham. They're so good in the Championship, so good, but they're awful in the Premier League. Mitrovic is lethal in the Championship. But then when it comes to the Premier League, Scott Parker doesn't play the same system to Mitrovic's strengths. Like, why would you not want to play to your best strikers' strengths in the Premier League? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know.
I think with Scott Parker, he wants to play attacking football that looks pretty on the eye with players that work hard. And I don't think Mitrovic works hard off the ball, and I think that's why he doesn't get played that much. But he started him in the season. At the start of the season, he started Mitrovic, and then he was left out for a few months where they tried Lookman up front, and it didn't seem to work. And then he brought him back in for the end of the season, and it's not really worked out for Mitrovic. He's missed a lot of penalties. He's not scored as many as people were expecting.
Yeah, but you say that, Scott Parker wants to play attacking, attractive football. I'm sorry, but when you're in a relegation fight, who cares what the football looks like? You just need results.
Yeah.
And they can play to Mitrovic's strengths in the Championship, so literally just do that. Because if you give Mitrovic 4 chances in a game, he's going to score.
Yeah, for me, they deserve to go down in the end. I didn't want them to go down. I thought they've got an exciting team, especially with Lookman, Reed, Mitrovic. I'm a huge fan of Mitrovic. I think he didn't get a good enough opportunity at Newcastle.
No, he definitely didn't.
To really prove himself. But
so what I want to actually ask, obviously, so Fulham and West Brom are going back down after being promoted last season.
Yep.
Norwich and Watford, who got relegated last season, are coming back up. But it almost seems like, I mean, are these four? Well, I'd say maybe not Watford because they've been not part of this, but like certainly Norwich, West Brom, Fulham. Are they just the yo-yo teams now? Because obviously they don't do well in the Prem, but they do well in the Championship. So are they just the yo-yo teams that go back and forth now? You know how QPR used to be?
I think in terms of Norwich, they're definitely too good to be in the Championship, but they're not good enough at the moment to be in the Premier League. I think if you've watched my YouTube video where I discussed how they're run as a football club, where they're running in profit now, they can start to invest more into the team, where beforehand they were spending tons of money to get promoted, and they're not really having the funds to keep them in the league and buy the players that they wanted to, because they've spent stupid amounts of money on players that weren't good enough or journeymen who are just there for a pay packet. But I think Norwich this season round will be a different animal. I'm not saying they're going to do a Leicester, but they're definitely going to be more competitive than they were last season. But in terms of West Brom, they've always done that. They've always gone down. Again, they're another team that keeps their Premier League players, so they're too good for the Championship, but they're not good enough because they don't improve when they get promoted. And I think that's what teams struggle with. Fulham tried to fix that.
Is it like a business model? I mean, obviously, like West Brom is sort of the third biggest team, or probably fourth biggest team in the Midlands, because after Wolves, Villa, and Birmingham City. So is it a business model? Because obviously, when you get relegated, you get a massive windfall because obviously with lots of earnings, and when you get promoted, you get a massive bonus. So is it literally just the only way that they can survive is by literally going up and down and up and down?
I don't know whether it's as to how they survive. I think it's where those clubs that need that windfall when they go down because the wages that the Premier League players will be on. But Fulham tried to rectify that when they got promoted. They tried to spend money on players that had European experience. If you look at Anderson, their centre-back and captain this season, he was playing for Lyon in the Champions League the season before. But again, I think to survive in the Premier League now, you need to have either do a Sheffield United where your team are all hungry to fight and for each other, and you don't have any flashy names, and you just play football to your strengths, like you mentioned with what Fulham should have done with Mitrovic. But it's one of those things where you just spending money doesn't help, and not spending money doesn't help. It's a really hard ceiling to break into. It's like a glass ceiling. You can't do it.
Can't do it. I don't know. It's going to be But I mean, going back to the original sort of point of question, it does kind of make the end of the season a little bit more boring, shall we say? Yeah. Obviously, you know, you've still got the top four battle and everything like that. But like the fact that the titles already confirmed, the relegation teams are already confirmed. It just I think the average football fan would just want, you know, something like that to be going until the last game of the season, because there's always that bit of drama. It's always that fun, isn't it?
Because all the games kick off at the same time on that Sunday, and it just gets a bit more action, and people are more interested and wanting to keep an eye on all the games, and that's when people tend to watch the relegation fight games, because they're more entertained. There's more on the line than watching, for example, no disrespect, Aston Villa versus I don't know, someone in mid-table with them, where there's nothing really to play for.
Yeah. Just moving slightly on. obviously, in terms of relegations and everything, I wanted to briefly mention the fiasco that was Derby County.
That
in
was
the
a
Championship.
crazy game.
Right.
That was a crazy game.
So I'm literally what is it? I'm just doing this quick counting here because I saw something on the which is basically just tweaked my memory. Basically, they have only won one of their last 12 games. Their last 12 games, I think they won one and drew two, and they stayed up.
Yep.
That is ridiculous.
That's because they had a cushion with Philip Cuckoo, and then Wayne Rooney just gone there and destroyed that. And I know it's not his fault because the owners wanted to kind of rip their team apart and just sell a lot of their older players.
Yeah.
But if you look at their squad, it's filled with injuries and not much talent. So, and they could still get relegated. Wickham's filed I don't know what, a lawsuit to try and get him.
Appeal, haven't they?
Yeah. Can't see that going well, but
No. But yeah, it was just that run of form just got me.
yeah. As you can tell, we were recording this really early in the morning.
Yeah, I
'cause
do
we're both-
apologise if I keep you in. Yeah. Right. Should we move on to the main topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. So, I am concerned about the Premier League. I am really concerned that it's going to become a one-team league for the title, and that team is going to be Manchester City. And I feel like the Premier League is going the way of the Bundesliga, of Ligue 1, of Serie A, where you have one team that wins it, and then you just have an
Bunch
odd
of teams
year.
fighting for scrap.
You have a bunch of teams fighting for the remaining places, and you have an odd year, like, in France where you had Monaco or Montpellier win, or this season in Italy when you've had Inter win. I just feel like, because you look at the City squad. The City squad is the main thing. Yes, all right. Take nothing away from City; they have achieved a heck of a lot in 10 years. But that's what happens when you spend £1 billion on players.
For me, I agree with what you're saying. I completely agree. But
it was the game against Chelsea, mate, at the weekend. The team they put out, they're basically their second string team.
Yeah.
So of the team that they put out, I'd say the only standard first team players really in there would be Ederson, Diaz, and Sterling. But then the rest of the team, you should look. Aymeric Laporte, who was brought in for 58 million. Nathan Ake, who was brought in the summer for 40 million.
Yep.
Rodri, 55 million. Cancelo, 60 million. Ferran Torres, where's Ferran Torres on this list? Ferran Torres, 20 million. Benjamin Mendy, 40 million. This is a second string team. How is any other team meant to compete with this?
Spending money, I guess, like how Chelsea do and how United have done in the past. It's you have to remember. People probably were thinking this when United were winning the season each year.
No, because United had a core of a team, and Ferguson would just go out and buy one player. He basically said, right, okay, this is the area we need to improve. Therefore, we will buy the best player in that position, or we will buy a player that suits our needs in that position. But that great Fergie team, the core of it really didn't change from about 2002 to 2013 when Fergie retired. You still had the likes of, throughout the majority of that period, Ferdinand, Vidic, Giggs, Neville, Scholes, Fletcher, Rooney. Goalkeeper wise, I mean, you had Van der Sar there for most of the period anyway.
Yeah.
So they brought the players in and they kept a core, which, I mean, let's be honest. Okay, yes, all right, it's been a decade since the City takeover came in, and the only one really left from that original bunch is Aguero.
Yep.
And the team has changed, but just their bench, mate. Their bench. Kyle Walker, 50 million. Mahrez was 60 million when he came in.
Yep.
61 million. Bernardo Silva, where's Bernardo Silva on here? 45 million. Gundogan, I think they got, actually to be fair, they got Gundogan. Oh no, Gundogan was 25 million. Honestly, it's just, you look at it and it's like John Stones didn't even make the team and he was 50 million.
And he's hardly played until this season, really. He's been FL squad for the past 2 seasons.
So how is any team meant to compete with this when you basically, your second team could win the Premier League? And that's not even your starting 11. And I know you say buy players, but it's not a... You've seen that. We see that with Monaco in France. They do that, and then they have no money left, so they've got to sell all the players because you can't afford it. Because you're not backed by oil magnates.
And then who buys those players? Man Cities and PSGs of the world.
Exactly. So, like, I know people will say about Liverpool that, we spent a lot of money. We did. However, a lot of our money was offset with transfers. So people say, oh, you spent 75 million on Van Dijk and 60 million on Alisson. Yeah, but we also got 142 million for Coutinho.
Which you still haven't got all of that back.
No, we haven't. But you get the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Everything was offset. And also we have an absolute genius in Michael Edwards who basically can say to Wolves, yeah, we'll give you 40 million for Diego Jota, but here's 5 million this season. Whereas City will just go out and be like, right, okay, that player is doing exceptionally well, we're going to have him so no one else can.
Yeah.
And
would you say, like, Chelsea are more likely to compete because they have the biggest budget in recent years, the likes of what they spent in the summer?
No, because that's a one-off. Even Abramovich can't afford, for Chelsea to do 200 million every window. I really don't feel like I don't feel like anyone's going to be able to compete, really, if I'm honest.
But I think with the Premier League, there's a bit more competitive nature in the league, where anyone could beat anyone. You've seen that this season.
Anyone can beat anyone, yes, but over 90 minutes is different to 38 games.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, okay, prime example, last season, Norwich City beat Man City, but still got relegated.
Yep.
It is the nature of the league. Anyone can beat anyone, and I fully get that. But can you really see a Man City team, like, with the players they've got, losing 4 games on the bounce?
No.
I can't.
No, but it's, just to go back on your point of their squad, you have to think they brought in Laporte to strengthen their defence, and he's being played left back.
Yeah, he's not playing. He's either not playing or he's being played left back. I mean, credit where credit is due. Ruben Diaz is a beast.
Just a quick side note on that. Did you see Jamie Carragher's and Gary Neville's team of the season on Sky Sports last night?
I saw it this morning, yeah.
So please explain to me, unless there's a rule that you can't pick a player twice, how Ruben Diaz is the player of the season, yet he's not the signing of the summer, or the signing of the transfer window. Because Jamie Carragher picked Thomas Souček, and Gary Neville picked, I can't remember who he picked, but it
actually,
baffled me.
I would actually argue that Souček has been more important to West Ham than Diaz has been to City. Souček has been class, but I get what you mean. How is the player of the season not been the signing of the summer? I do get that. That doesn't make sense. I'll be honest. I'm a bit baffled as to how Mo Salah's not in that team either.
Yeah, how Son isn't in that team as well.
Say again?
So Son's not in that team either, and I think he's had a better season than Rashford.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they got most of it spot on. I will give them that. But yeah.
Okay, let's go back to City. How would you bring in a salary cap? Would you bring in like a transfer fund that you can only spend this much money on players at over a certain age or in a certain league, or would you have to play?
Well, it's meant to be financial fair play. and you're only meant to spend. You can't spend out of your earning means for the previous 3 seasons. But so I'm literally just gonna go based on the last few seasons. So basically transfer signings, okay?
Go for it.
So 2021 season they spent 160 million and they brought in 55 million. 1920 143 brought in 63. 18-19 spent 70, brought in 51. 17-18 285 compared to 82. Like, where is the financial fair play with this? The 16-17 spent 193 and brought in 31 on transfers.
It's to do with revenue as well. So
Yes, but
it's
City,
stupid.
but unless City are charging 120 quid a ticket, then I don't see where the revenue comes from, because the stadium's never full, really. We've been in a pandemic, so they haven't had things. Yes, all right, I know they've basically manipulated sponsorships so that they get the Etihad Training Centre, and it's basically that's still owned by Mansour, so he can just plough his money into it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, everyone knows that they're getting round financial fair play, so change financial fair play.
They're not going to change financial fair play because they don't want to change anything to do with football these days, unless it's something stupid.
But if you don't change financial fair play, then realistically, your top five winners are going to be pretty much the same every season, apart from Spain.
Yep.
Your Champions League semi-finalists are pretty much going to be City, PSG, Bayern Munich, and one of the teams from Spain every season. So where's the competition? Where's the best thing about football is it's the Leicester story, isn't it?
Yep.
It's the fairy tale, and I just don't see it. I see Leicester title wins, Liverpool title wins as the exception, not the rule, whereas the City title wins will be the rule, not the exception.
Yep. So, because if you're going by what you've just read out about their transfer budgets and funds that they've spent, you can only see this continuing for the next 3-4 seasons, and they're just going to be better than everyone else.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Because I assume if you read out the stats of how much money Liverpool have spent over the past 5 years, Tottenham, Man U, Chelsea, Leicester.
Well, let's have a look. So let's have a look. So let's have a look at Liverpool.
So I can guarantee it's not going to be. Maybe they might beat him one season, but that's probably just to catch up. But for the 5 seasons, if you're doing it from a 5-season period, I guarantee there's nowhere near. But
so let's have a look. Liverpool. Okay, last summer spent 75 million, brought in 40. Season before that, spent 10 million, brought in 38. Season before that, it's 163 compared to 37 in. But then that was obviously the whole Coutinho thing. Season before that, 156 out, 166 in. Actually, going through it a lot of the time, Liverpool actually, we either don't spend money or we make money.
yeah.
On that. But
So it's going to be a thing where, like in France, well, let's go with Germany because that's a better example. You have Bayern Munich, who then go, okay, Borussia Dortmund have had a good season, or RB Leipzig's had a good season. Let's take Upamecano. Thank you. He's going to go straight into our centre back. They've taken Lewandowski in the past.
Götze,
Hummels, yeah.
Yeah, but then that's because the way that the German league has been for years is that if you want to win the title, you've got to be at Munich.
Yeah.
And that's how I can see the Premier League going. I am just genuinely concerned because it's going to drive fans away.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think, listeners and viewers? Do you think I'm just being paranoid, or do you actually believe the same that this issue is going to persist with City?
Here's a question for I know this will never happen, but I would like to hear what people think of this. What about a draft system, like in American football, where the teams that finish the lowest or had the worst season in terms of American football get the first round draft pick. I know that would never happen in the Premier League, but wouldn't that be fun if, say, Norwich get promoted and they have the first pick of some players that are up for sale or something stupid like that, just to make it a bit fairer.
No,
but I know that wouldn't work. But
I mean, if you thought of a system, it could work. But no, I know what you mean. It's one of them. Something has to change, and I do believe it should have to be the financial fair play, really. But I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Maybe they should cap it so that you can only spend X amount of money in 5 seasons. And if you spend over that, then you have to sell or make more money than triple that amount of money. Or
just operate in profit, because a lot of teams operate in net loss at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's only a certain few clubs that make profit. But this is what I mean, so I think, what was I going to say? I think it should be, teams are going to struggle, they're going to lose their best players, and that way it's always going to be Man City. But as Matty said, it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. This is only going to be a short one today.
No, it's fine. I've got it sorted. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I do apologise. I'm about to change camera positions because my actual camera's going to die. But I'm going to go onto my phone so we can carry on with it. I do apologise, but yeah, this will be really quickly. But yeah,
okay,
carry on, Luke.
I'll just waffle on. I'll do what Sky Sports can't do. So yeah, I think teams now, you'll see the likes of Jack Grealish going to a Man City or a Man U, because Man U are going to have to try and compete with Man City. And then the teams that you'd be excited to see because they have the likes of Jack Grealish or James Maddison in terms of Leicester, those players won't be there for more than 1 or 2 seasons. They'll be snapped up by the likes of Man City, by the likes of Man U, by the likes of Chelsea, because those teams are going to be trying to compete with Man City, and that way it's just going to be the big fish are going to eat the small fish, and then the bigger fish are going to eat the big fish. It's going to ruin the whole dynamic of football, where your teams that are slightly, you haven't got the financial power of the big teams, are going to have to look abroad, like how Leicester have done, how Leeds have done this season, where they've looked abroad to bring in players from different leagues, like Newcastle in the past, to make profit, to sell them on, and then they don't really go anywhere. They're just happy to make some money. And I know Newcastle fans especially aren't too happy with that way of playing, of buying, for example, Moussa Sissoko for 10 million and selling him to Tottenham for 30 million, making 20 mil profit each season. And then it'll probably happen with St. Maximin. He will probably go from being a signing for him who does 2 seasons and then gets snapped up by a Chelsea or a Liverpool to try and compete. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Maximin joins Liverpool to replace Mane or Salah in the next 2 seasons. But
yeah, that is true. We're back. Thank you.
No problem. I like waffling.
Yeah. Sorry, technical difficulties. I'm an idiot. Didn't charge my camera properly overnight, so it's fine. I think going back onto what you were saying. I can see. I mean, it's always the way that it goes. The best teams get the best players, and they always do sort of suck up all the best players from the league because they don't want anyone else to have them. But if it's just one team that's doing that, then there's no competitiveness.
No, what would you think? Like Jack Grealish, for me, he is a different type of player because of his loyalty to Villa. Is loyalty going to come into the way people think, or to join these big clubs if they're more loyal? Because I know people talk about Harry Kane, and we're not going to talk about Harry Kane, but the loyalty is up in question. And is loyalty just gone from football now?
Yeah, I think loyalty has gone. I think loyalty again is the exception, not the norm. Someone like Jack Grealish has been very loyal to Villa. Same as Harry Kane has been very loyal to Spurs. But there does come a point in a player's career where it's like, right, okay, if I stay here, I'm not going to achieve what I probably should achieve. loyalty's a very fickle thing, and I think loyalty has gone in football now. You don't get it unless like I don't know, had Spurs won the League Cup, Kane might have stayed because he's like, okay, I've won a trophy. But yeah, the fact that I can't see Grealish winning the trophy at Villa, I can't see Kane winning the trophy at Spurs. I can't. The loyalty will wane at some point. And then, no doubt, in the summer, Man City will go, okay, there you go, there's 150 million, we'll take Harry Kane off your hands, please. Kane gets 40 goals next season, and City win the league by 30 points.
So let's put into perspective. City are in the Champions League final, the FA Cup final, no, not the FA Cup final, the League Cup final, which they won. They're about to win the Premier League. They got knocked out of the FA Cup. So that's 3 out of 4 that they could potentially win. And then you look at the teams that are competing for it. Chelsea are the only team that's managed to beat them. And that Chelsea have got to do it again in the Champions League. But it's going to be this thing. Is this going to be a regular where City... How many times have they won the League Cup now, Matty? Is it 4 times on the bounce?
4 times on the bounce, and I think they've actually equalled the record for it. Let's have a gander.
So that speaks volumes to what Matty is saying, how even the League Cup and the FA Cup competitions, where, again, they're playing
the
their
League Cup's a
second
difficult
team.
one because I don't think not a lot of people care about the League Cup anymore, I will be honest.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying how they can play their second team and it's still miles above everyone else's second team.
Okay, so they have won it 4 years on the bounce. They've won it 6 times in 8 years.
So 6 times in 8 years, that's
6
crazy.
times in 8 years in the League Cup. They won the FA Cup once in that. On there. Yeah. I think we all saw how dominant United were for 20 years in the Premier League. I don't think that they're going to have a patch on this City team if it carries on, mate.
No. So that's where people will be like, oh, the Super League will make it more competitive because Man City will be competing with PSG and blah, blah, blah. That won't work in my opinion, because then PSG will just take the best players from England. But at the moment, PSG won't take the best players from England because the French league isn't competitive enough. There's not enough viewers watching it. Other than PSG, there's no money in French football anymore. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, there's no money in French football. Without PSG, there was no real appeal to French football. I don't know, the whole thing just depresses me, if I'm honest, mate.
Yeah, it is. So, like Matty said, it'd be really interesting to see what you guys think, whether you think me and Matty are just waffling and don't know what we're talking about, which is fair enough. Sometimes I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
But
no, I just wanted to finalise the point. Well, it's not even really finalising the point, really. It's more another observation. Obviously, so Aguero's leaving in the summer.
Yep.
He's gone. And we all, but then City fans will be like, oh no, we won't go out and spend 100 million on a player because we don't do that. We just go out and spend 50-60 million pounds on a player.
Yep.
Okay. Well, A, strikers are the most expensive players in the market generally.
Mm-hmm.
B, you've had the best striker, probably the best foreign striker in Premier League history for the past decade. You've not needed to, since the market exploded when Neymar moved, you've not needed to buy a player for that level of money.
Exactly.
But do you really think that's going to stop them?
No.
Do you really think that they're going to say, no, we're not going to pay 100 million for Harry Kane, we're not going to pay 120 million for Erling Haaland, because it's not what we do?
They're going to have to, if they're going to keep with their way of playing with a striker.
Exactly.
You've seen this season,
so
they've not played with a striker.
No. They then, they buy Harry Kane, they win the league. They buy Erling Haaland, they win the league.
So I would like to hear what Man City fans think of this. So if you're a Man City fan, either watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music, leave a mention on our Facebook group or Twitter to see what do you like how your club's being run? Do you think it's a valid win, or do you think you're buying the league? And I'm not saying that you haven't deserved to win the league titles that you have, because I think you have to a certain extent. But is it getting to a point where you're starting to think, oh well, this isn't really fair on the other clubs, or are you thinking, I don't care, spend?
Yeah.
So that'll be my two questions for you.
At what point did the City players start thinking, like the guys obviously we saw it with Leroy Sané, he wasn't getting played, so he's like, right, we'll sod this, I'm going. At what point did the guys like Laporte, like Ake, Cancelo, Mendy, at what point do they go, okay, no, I want to play football? Because obviously that is the big issue with having massive teams and, having the best players, is you have these players who are of world-class ability, but they can't play. So at what point do they not want to be there anymore?
It goes back to when people play. I know this is going to be a really bad example, but do you remember when QPR were in the Premier League under Harry Redknapp and they had the likes of Sean Wright-Phillips and Adel Taarabt on 70k a week?
The streets will never forget.
Yeah, but that type of thing where, well, I'm not getting played, but do I take a 25k pay cut to play football, or do I just sit here for the 2 years left of my contract earning 70 to 80k a week? And that's like me saying, Matty, you're going to do the same job, but I'm going to pay you £100 a week rather than £500 a week. You're going to be like, I'll just stay in my old one.
Well, if you're coming towards the end of your career, then go for it. Because at the end of the day, you want to have some kind of financial stability. The career of a footballer is very short.
Yeah.
So you want to have that level of sort of financial stability at the end of it. So I get that, but younger players, surely you'd want to be playing.
Well, a lot of it now, I think, is young players just want to be remembered in the history of being in a winning. Look at Michael Richards. What's he really ever done in his career? But because he played for Man City and won the league, he's now a Sky Sports pundit and he's everywhere. No disrespect to Michael Richards, because I think he's a likeable guy.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, okay. No, I get what you mean. Right, should we move on?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're just going to go around in circles with City, because I think we're both of the same opinion of it. So.
Yep.
Leicester's top four drop off.
Your Brendan Rodgers hatred is coming back again.
No, my Brendan Rodgers hatred isn't coming back again. My Brendan Rodgers prediction is coming back again.
Yeah. I think, again, it's a drop-off where they've, again, have a really small squad. And I think that's their downfall, because when they have injuries to Maddison, Harvey Barnes or Vardy, Iheanacho, yes, has replaced Vardy, but you don't really have the goals outside of those players. They've missed Maddison to injuries, to COVID, rule breaking. Harvey Barnes obviously got injured. Vardy's not really had the same season he's had before. He's come to the end of his career. So it's where you play so many games at a high level, and then people start to work you out of how you play. And I think that's been Brendan Rodgers' issue. He's only got a plan A, and when plan A doesn't work, he goes to plan A.
Yeah, that is his biggest downfall. Is it's always he just won't change his tactics with it. But yeah, so last season they were convincingly in the top four until the last sort of 4 weeks of the season.
Yep.
This season they were convincingly in the top four. In their defence, they are still 5 points away from dropping out of the top four. But they've got the worst run-in of anyone.
Still got to play Man U, Chelsea, don't they?
They played Man U because they beat them. Let's have a look at fixtures. Teams, Leicester. So they've got to play United today. Then they've got to play Chelsea next Tuesday, and then they've got to play you in the last game of the season.
So that's three teams still trying to fight for something. Chelsea well, I don't know if Chelsea are trying to fight for, but they've probably got top 4. It's more. The pressure is going to be on Leicester to get a result. Their best chance is probably against Man U because they've got 3 games in 4 days, wherever it is. And then they've got. They'll probably be top.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't get any points from that, then, real big chance of not getting top 4. Annoyingly, had Liverpool not dropped the 2 points against. It's gone from my brain because I blanked it out that badly. But had Liverpool not dropped those 4 points, we'd be literally 2 points behind them. That's how annoying it is.
So what do you reckon it is? Do you reckon it's just the high intensity that Brendan Rodgers wants to play at that leads to them dipping at the end of the season, or is that just how the
I think it's a mentality thing, mate.
A mentality.
Forget So of that team, really, it's only Vardy and Wes Morgan that are left from the title-winning team, aren't they?
Yep.
And even then, that wasn't much of a title battle because they were still several points clear for most of the season. So a lot of it. I think a lot of it is a mentality issue. And I think if they drop off and don't finish top 4 again, that'll have massive detriments to the players and their mentalities. I also think it's because they're talented enough to get top 4. So I think the issue then lies with Rodgers.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of people I speak to rate Brendan Rodgers, and a lot of people like yourself have question marks over Rodgers' how he plays, and
I just don't think he adapts to situations, mate. He's a very good attacking manager, but he's not great defensively, and he won't adapt to situations. It's always a case of, no, we are sticking to the game plan, whereas you get managers like Pep, like Klopp, like Fergie,
Tuchel,
who will change tactics and go, right, okay, this isn't working. It's so the prime example is the Liverpool game against Chelsea and where Gerrard slipped.
Yep.
And rather than change the tactics and try and work the ball into the box, the thing was just shoot. If we keep attacking, we will score. And it's well, that's not gonna. That didn't happen because if a team figures you out, you can't. If a team parks 11 men behind the ball, you're not going to be able to do anything. So you've got to change up, and Rodgers just doesn't do that. He doesn't change his game plan. He doesn't change anything to do with what he wants to do. It's all, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. So do you reckon it's also their strength in depth that they don't really have anyone to replace Vardy's goals or Maddison's creativity when they're not in the team?
Oh yeah, they struggle with that. But I think any team would struggle with that when you have talismanic players. Because if you had people that could contribute to their level of goals and assists, then they'd be in the team anyway. They wouldn't be replacements.
That is true. Yeah, that is very true. So the one last thing I wanted to talk to you before we wrap up is the amount of ugly kits I'm seeing leaked for the next season.
God.
I know they've made that England kit for retro, the all black one. I know you did not like that, and then I sent you one the other week where it was a Union Jack type coloured England kit.
Yep.
And it's just, can they not make nice kits anymore?
Well, if you go to Ajax, they make nice kits. Have you seen their third kit for next season?
Their Bob Marley one.
Yeah, mate, I want that one so much.
So do I. That looks amazing.
But I think it's become there's a geezer that I work with, and he really likes these really ludicrous and out there kits, and I think it is literally it's a fashion thing, isn't it? More than anything, it's a fashion statement, and it's
yeah, there's no nice kits out there anymore. I think clubs now, they release one nice kit and then the rest are, well, there's one generic kit for Liverpool, it's red, Tottenham it's white, and Chelsea it's blue, and then which is normal, and they're normally okay, and then their away kits are normally horrendous. Spurs' bright yellow kit this season, you had a light blue kit the season before or something.
No, we've got that horrible neon green, neon teal and black one this season, and the whole marketing thing was no two kits are the same, the pattern's all different. I don't care if the pattern's different, it's horrific.
Yeah, the green shirt that I'm wearing now is our third kit, and that's the only nice one. Otherwise, kits now, I find it really. I used to, when I was younger, get really excited for kit release days, seeing them, and they normally used to be like basic colours, like for Tottenham white, then the away kit would be blue, and then the third kit would be like a.
You always had that rule. The third kit was the funky one, didn't you?
Yeah. And now
because Liverpool did it where we
we
had like a white with a blue, and then we had a purple and tribal ones, and they're the ones I always used to buy because I was an idiot child.
Yeah, but now you just want like a basic shirt that's not too out there. So you just want a nice kit. Like that Chelsea third kit is like a Crystal Palace's kit. It's blue,
I mean, to
orange,
be fair, I'm not a big fan of Chelsea's kit this season in general because I keep thinking that they're all the number 3.
Yeah, it is strange.
Like that logo is a bit horrific on Chelsea's kit. But yeah, there's the amount of these retro kits and these out there wacky kits. It annoys me how it's like, okay, we're going to design a home kit for this season, like especially for Liverpool, and it's like, okay, here's a red kit, and then the season after it, it's like, okay, here's a new red kit, but you have to buy it because it's got slightly different on it.
Yeah, that baffles me.
But then I can't say anything because I'm an idiot and I buy them.
Yeah, well, that's like
I've got the last
milk
3
fans.
Although I am really annoyed that the one kit I didn't buy was the Liverpool 125th anniversary one, the one that when we were working together.
Yes.
The one that was like really nice, and then it sold out, and no more came in ever. And
Yeah, that was
anywhere.
a strange one.
That was a nice one. It was like the white with it was a red with a white trim on it, but it just looked so slick.
No, I'm not saying the kit was strange. It was just a strange one how they didn't make any more. Or, like we weren't getting any in stock, and you couldn't buy.
Yeah,
it
they were
anywhere.
like, oh, we didn't expect the demand for it, and we're like, right, okay, well, so can you make some more, please? And we're just like, no. And now you try and find them online, you can't find them anywhere.
No, you cannot. And it's okay, quick. I know I've said this was to end it, but I just want to quickly get your opinion on Arteta. Is he going to get sacked? Is he going to leave at the end of the season? What's next for Arsenal?
What Arsenal should do is sack Arteta and get another manager, and what Arsenal will do is stick with Arteta.
Okay, next quickfire question. Do you think Ryan Mason will get the job permanently?
No.
Okay,
Don't think he's a big enough name. I think you will want a bigger name.
Okay, next quick question. Will West Ham finish in European spots?
Well, considering European spots go below as far down as 9th now, yes.
Okay.
Are you saying, do you reckon they're going to finish 5th? No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I think they're going to finish 6th.
Okay. The Champions League final, City or Chelsea, who are you going for?
Chelsea. I can just see it, mate. Chelsea, Tuchel's just going to do a defensive masterclass, and they're going to score a scabby, cheap goal, and City aren't going to be able to do anything.
Was Aguero's Panenka an insult to Chelsea, or was it valid? Are you against the Panenkas?
Mate, if you want to do a Panenka, do a Panenka. Like, I don't think it's disrespectful at all. If anything, like what is disrespectful about a Panenka, mate? It's a type of penalty. You're just like, okay, I know. When it goes well, you're like, okay, what a penalty. When it goes wrong, people are like, why'd you do it? There's no two ways of it.
Yeah.
Was it disrespectful? No, I don't think Aguero. Literally, I don't think Aguero cares at this point.
No, neither do I. But yeah, so that rounds up this episode of the Offside Trap podcast. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on
Hopefully
Twitter,
we'll have,
on Facebook. We're still on Spotify. We're everywhere now.
Hopefully we'll have at least one video podcast in the future where there aren't technical issues and someone's camera dies.
We're getting there.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys next time.
See you later.